yes, I'm fresh to death. I'm Paul Berry, not at all scary. When I open like Betty Wops, they find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders, trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us. You flaring to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase, yeah, Bubba C, yeah, Rick flaring on them, Rick flaring on them, Rick flaring on them, Rick flaring, son up, baby.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the swag, pull up where you at, no cap. If the Brody is speaking the soft facts, my advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeants are with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the leash. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walk it, cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets. What is going on, everybody? You already know it is your boy Scotty back with another one. Happy Tuesday. Better yet, April Fool's to all you members out there. You already know what it is, man. Have a great show prepared for you today. Now, listen, I got an amazing special guest coming on. Coach Teddy Keaton is going to talk about the program, talking about the historic scrimmage that he's putting together and the multiple things he's doing down there at Clark Atlanta. But make sure you stay tuned after the interview because I do have some other stuff we want to get into and talk about with the show as well. But, you know, first things first, got to pay the bills, right? Because, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Make sure, listen, TikTok. All right, I ain't Samuel Jackson. I'll finish it in a different way. But TikTok time is ticking. Remember, the Tubman Museum Golf Tournament is coming up May 5th. Cinco de Mayo. Listen, it is partnered with the Alabama State men's and women's golf team. If I'm not mistaken, I think they won a championship. If not, I think it's the tennis team. But listen, you can sign up at www.tubmangolf.org. That is www.tubmangolf.org. Foursomes, again, if that is what you into, $500, individual, $150. It's at the beautiful Crystal Lake and Golf and Country Club in Hampton, Georgia. Make sure you come out. Make sure you, all the surrounding areas, come out and support this adventure into what they're doing. Now, listen, if I had some more time, I would have had, like, welcome to Atlanta, where to play. But, I ain't have time for all that. But please give it up for my special guest today, Coach Teddy Keaton. This is for you, Coach. That is for you. What's going on, Coach? Boy, it's hard to see you back there.
Look, what happened is, man, I took my ring light and I took it home. All this was impromptu. I had a podcast to do, so I'm sorry. You're just going to have to see me. I think people can see me from here.
Yeah, I hope they can see you from there.
I'm sitting on my cushion, so I make sure I was up to the camera. I don't got to reach up.
Hey, what's going on, Coach? Listen, let me ask you a quick question, because I'm loving the gear. Are y'all sponsored by Jordan? And nobody told me.
It's both of them. We could use Nike or Jordan.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh shit. I was like, ain't nobody. I ain't got no Clark Atlanta gear. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Michael Jordan's daughter, if you listening, I really want the jump man at a black school. I really want that. I know it's at Howard, but we can come on down to the Howard of the South and Atlanta University down here in the AU Center where we do things live here.
Hey, listen, that would be crazy. Jordan in Atlanta?
That's right.
Now
put him on the bus. He'll be on the water.
Yeah, that's a pitch right there. You be every man in the mud, boy. That'd be tough. That is absolute tough. Because I want to talk about just your journey overall and getting to Clark Atlanta. When you first came on the scene, and you're killing it at Allen and Stillman and stuff like that. My question is what made Clark appeasing to you, right? Because let's break it down. I mean, the last 10 years, not one winning season, and then you come in year one, 7-3-1, and go to the SIAC championship. You fall short to Sam Shade's team, but what was it about Clark that you liked, and what made you feel that you could do what you did in year one?
Well, one was the president, George French. I had previously worked for Dr. French at Miles. I saw the transformation at Miles. I was on that staff 2 years in a row that I saw it. I played against them while I was the head coach at Stillman. And we played Clark as well. Clark always had some very competitive football teams. You just tried to figure out where did they fit in at. And so over the years, I had been kind of eyeing it. I'm like, it's Atlanta. It's the Mecca. It's got everything you want. The AU Center is always jumping. I don't care what time of the year you come. It's always jumping. All they really need is a football program now. One of them. Just one of them. Morehouse, Clark, Morris Brown flag football team. Somebody, I just needed one team to say, can I go to Atlanta and change the culture? And it's a lot of great football in Georgia. In the Atlanta metro area alone, there's a lot of power. There's how many kids that play in the NFL that came from Atlanta, that you be like, how come they can't get none of those kids? So I just started taking a deep dive into it. And truthfully, Morehouse had my heart first. Because Morehouse is an international brand. You could go from anywhere on this continent and mention Morehouse. And I tried to interview for Morehouse, and Morehouse, they told me no. So I went to Clark. I mean, the very next year, Clark came after me. And when Clark came after me, I felt that, okay, I had a little pissed off in me, a little hot. My pee was hot. So I was like, I tell you what, I'm going to go across the street and prove to them that this can be done here in Atlanta. And we went to work and, with the help of the transfer portal and a couple guys that had already been with me and just making the right choices and what I call draft picks, we made it happen.
Coach, man, listen, I want to talk about this kid, David Wright. He is different. And when I mean different, like you can see the skill set that he could play at a D1 level, but his height is a limitation to that. When you first saw this kid play, what was like, oh, he's it. This is what I need. What made you take that leap of faith at his height and his skill set to say this is the kid that I can partner with?
Can you make the throws? How his feet move in the pocket? I think that evaluating a quarterback is obviously something that it's like having a point guard on the basketball team. You've got to have somebody to handle your business. And when I saw David, a lot of quarterbacks that came across, and I think I was sitting with the staff at Allen, and we was talking, and I said, that's the one. And they was like, you sure, coach? I said, that's the one. Look at him. He hit all the slants, the throws. I said, look how he threw that ball. That's pretty. I'm talking about everything he threw was on the money. Now, like most people don't realize, David was never the quarterback now. David was a wide receiver. And he was throwing the ball at practice one day.
Wow.
And the coach made him the quarterback. Michael Phoenix, I get his name mixed up, the one that played for the Falcons now, that was the quarterback that David replaced. So David played behind him. And so now he's the quarterback, played at
the kid that was at UW, and now
right.
he's
University of Washington, and
yeah.
now he's at that was David. They both come from Tampa Bay Tech.
Wow.
And David was just, man, I called Jason. Jason is the head coach down at Tampa Bay Tech, and Tampa Bay Tech is one of those programs down there that's like it takes from all the schools in Tampa. It's like a agricultural school. Like you go over and you learn how to do trades and stuff. So those kids go over there. So they get a lot of good talent. So I've been recruiting Tampa Bay Tech since 1999, and we fooled around and we got him. And next thing you know, David's been everything. David's a special talent. I mean, you can't, it's unfortunately that we don't have him this year. But I tell people all the time, every 4 years, you're going to trade out to get another guy. But it's going to be hard for everybody to what we have made a name for in the last 3 or 4 years is off David Wright. And he's been of that picture. And I'm trying to get my team, the players, the coaches, everybody to be like, hey, we got a new guy. We got to formulate an offense around that guy that helps him be successful and not try to make him David.
7-3-1 first year goal. You have a huge win over an FBS program. How? Let me say this because I want to give a personal experience. For me, it was like when I was in high school, we got a new coach. We were the worst team in the metropolitan area. I'm talking about we were in the Washington Post as one of the worst football programs in all of the DMV area, right? When you make the Washington Post for being bad, that's just bad. And we come in, and the coach comes in, and we didn't believe we could win. He's like, hey, you do what I tell you to do. I promise you're going to win. And we go out and win one game, right? We're like, okay, wow, we had never won before. We win 2 games. We're like, oh, man. Then we meet a team that is usually always good, and we beat them. And then we knew we were good. You know what I'm saying? Was that Bethune-Cookman game, was that a turning point for your team to say, like, listen, we are legit, and we can go do big things here in the SIAC?
I think Fort Valley was.
Okay.
The first game of the season was because, mind you, they had beat Fort Valley since 2016 or 2015, somewhere around that time. And Fort Valley is part of that blue buzz of our conference, and we knew going into camp. And I used that as motivation. These guys, if you play a game up front that's really difficult, now you're really going to be able to measure where you're going to stand amongst the rest of the conference. So when we got out there and we knew Fort Valley was on the table, it made their focus turn up. Everything about them, they bought into the philosophies. It's not hard to buy into somebody who was already a winner. So they already knew I was a winner. They saw me. They had played against me. So they knew what we was bringing to the table. They had played against David. They had played against Armand. Those type of guys, they knew what was coming with me. As Dion would say, he bought his Louis. I'm gonna do with the young boy. I bought my go yard with me.
Oh, okay.
So I bought my go yard with me, and we was ready to roll then. And so I knew that if we could find at least 40% of this team that could play and buy into what we were doing, we had a good chance of being successful. Now, did I think we were going to make it to the championship game? Of course I did, but I don't think the world did. So I wanted my kids to believe that they had to take it. How do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So we were going every day, day by day, every 24 hours, and they bought into that philosophy of learning what to do, how to do it, and why it's important for them to do it that way. And I think that's how you change the culture. And you got to be you got to be relentless and not letting people change your philosophy and what you believe in. Because mind you, the AU Center has so many distractions. I mean, we just talking about the AU Center. We're not talking about Atlanta. We're just talking about the AU Center. Yeah. There's enough distraction. There's a phone party going on. The Juicy Crab is jumping. I mean, wherever you want to go. I mean, at you be there, eat dinner with your family, and then at 5 minutes later we had a club, and now it's a club, and you see the hookah come out, and you be like, man, it's hard for a kid to say, from getting distracted here. So we had to find ways to keep them motivated, even moving practice back to later in the afternoon and moving the meetings back. So now when they were done, they would just go on and go to bed. So we put them in the morning workout would be early in the morning so that they couldn't go out and party, that they had to be somewhere.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. I like how you're formulating around the environment that you're in, because if you're at a Fort Valley State in the middle of nowhere, it's not much that you're having to worry about people going out and doing things. So you can move it around the schedule like that. Now, I always wanted to ask a D2 coach this: how much are you recruiting? Because I know, as you being a winner and being in the championship, that's your expectation. So I'm not taking it away. But when you're having to play the playoffs, and knowing you're going to have to see programs outside of the SIAC, unlike the SWAC and unlike the MEAC, because they have the Celebration Bowl, how is your recruiting mindset in building a playoff contender different than just winning the SIAC, if there's any difference in that?
Well, there's an NFL approach now. So now your high school kids, they're your draft picks. The transfer portal to me is like your free agency. So right now we're evaluating our team. We've already drafted some kids that we know that's going to be immediate impacts to this program, or they're going to be able to develop 1 year, 2 years to become an impact to this program. Now we got to find our immediate impact players. That's got to be after spring ball. You go through and you say, hey, we need help here. We got to go find this guy. Hey, we need help here. We got to go find this guy. I think that you have to be a true general manager. That's why you see all these college teams hiring general managers. If you're not a good roster management person, and I think I learned mine from coaching arena football. I spent a lot of time doing that. So I understood how to move the roster, when it was time to move, when you could get players. And I think if you don't know how to manage a roster, it don't matter. You're trying to build a team for 1 season. And that's the mindset you got to have. You can't be talking about the future. You can't be talking about next year. And I say it all the time, or you're going to be on Scotty's show, and he's going to be talking about it's time for him to go. Mustard.
Yeah. You got it. Hey, listen. You know what, Coach? It's funny. I was riding in the car, and I'm going to play you this track because I know you know it, but I'm going to play you this track. And I was like, babe, I'm going to use this on the show because I get tired of being blamed for people getting themselves fired. I didn't give you 3 and 7. I didn't give you 4 and 8 or 4 and 7. I didn't do that to you. So why is when now I'm talking about you getting fired, now I'm the bad guy because all I'm saying is, hey, look at this. Why would you want to keep paying $200,000, $300,000 for 4 and 8? 2 and 10 don't make sense to me, but hey, that's let me see. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna get it. Oh yeah. So everybody's heard because I played the first half of this song, but it's a second part of this song. And I'm like,
you can't stop the rain.
but it's the second half. It's the second half. You gotta listen to the second half. There's no one else to blame. Don't blame nobody else. It's on you. There's no one else to blame, Coach. I'm sorry. I just had
my mama do it too. She likes Yellow Breezy, even though he's going through his legal troubles. We know when he made a song, he'll go to she be, that's on you, baby.
Hey,
that's on you.
Come on. That's on you, right? And again, you're in a I look at it like this. You're in a what have you done for me lately business. And that's just the mindset of it is. But your accomplishments and your cachet that you've built allows you some leeway in the down seasons.
That's right.
But if you're not depositing in that bank and you're trying to just keep, you're going to get overdrafted, and it's time for the go. And I think a lot of coaches don't have that mindset of the understanding of that process.
Well,
And go ahead.
I'll take you to where I feel. Biggie made a song. He said, "I treat everything just like it was my first day." It was Jay-Z who made the song. It's on the Black album. He said, "I treat everything like it's my first day on the job, like I'm an intern at this, because it keeps me humble. Whatever happened last year has no bearings on what's going to happen this year. I don't care what we talk about. What happened yesterday has no bearings on what's going to happen today." We have to be in that type of mindset. We have to work with that type of mindset. And if we keep living about, we went to the championship, oh, they had their first year, everything was great, now we're going to turn around and it's going to be this, I can't say the word, but it's going to be bad the next season. And I don't want to be that way. So that's why I continue to win, because we keep that type of pressure on ourselves, on the staff. Everybody's working like we won the game. 24 hours later, we lost. And guess what? We back at work. And when you were speaking on recruiting, we are recruiting 24/7. Every game, if you ever come to a Clark Atlanta game, even when I was at Allen, there will be 20 to 25 recruits on a sideline all day. My staff, Coach Hayde, Coach Miss Niger, those guys, they're working relentlessly. Every time we have a meeting, we're talking about 26 kids now. We're fixing to have junior day. We're about to have Pantherfest. All those things that they do at a D1, we're doing it here. It's just on a smaller level.
We're going to come back to that. I want to touch on this. Well, how did this come about? Because I thought this is genius. Listen, I know Dion. I know everybody gets. I know Dion and his premise of how trying to do it at the D1 level. You know, it really blew up. But you being able to bring it about, you and Coach Mathis, I'll give it on both of y'all because you both have to agree to it. You and Coach Mathis bringing this about and setting forth. How did this come about, and how did this even get approved?
Well, in D2, whether most people don't know, you can have a scrimmage game in the spring. But unlike us, we don't take advantage of it. So I was this happened last year. This was approved last year, last year's legislation. So I'm on a committee with the D2 cadet, and I was talking to all my other counterparts that's in the other conferences, and they all did the scrimmage. And I wanted to know, well, how did it work out for you? They said it was the best thing since go, because it's good to be able to see the guys that you truly evaluate go against somebody else that now you got a real possibility to say, can this guy play at this level? Or are we holding on to him? Or we're going to be singing, we can't stop the rain? You know, a lot of times we're sitting around trying to, you know, we're banking on these guys. I mean, it's serious to me. Yeah. And I tell the kid, coaches, evaluate that kid, because if you fall in love with that kid and you think this is the guy that's going to get it done, will you put your job on it? Would you put your check on it? Because at the end of the day, we're only in our honeymoon stage here, and we set the bar very high here in Atlanta. I mean, I can't even go to the grocery store, and they know they knew Clark was there, but they're so excited about what I've done. So you imagine, I don't want to go to the grocery store. Was it a fluke? Was it beginner's luck? Or what was it? We want to make sure that we set a tone. And coach, he's trying to do some things at Morehouse that he's been in the NFL. I've coached arena football, so we understand what OTAs look like, and we kind of mapping it out in a way that we're doing some one-on-ones, some bell drill, inside drill, 7-on-7, half skelly, and then we'll do about 30 or 40 plays of some team stuff. And, we get a chance to see our team against somebody else. And then now we know when we go into this second half of recruiting, we'll be ready for it.
Huge. And I think, to me, that's the key to that, is like, let me evaluate this kid, because and anybody who hasn't played football, I say this all the time. When you've played enough football, you've gone through enough, you know who you're. If I play wide receiver and I've seen this guy at DB all year for spring, I know I'm gonna kill him. I'm not worried about him. But do you have that same mindset when you don't know the kid across from you, and you still feel you're that good? And that's what these scrimmages have. You have to show your nuts, as coaches will say. You gotta show your nuts. Like, what about you is gonna make me say, you know what? I can count on him in the fourth quarter. He gonna show me something. He gonna make a big time play for me. He's gonna be my next Armand. He's gonna be my next David Wright, right? Like I need to know, and you got to see that against kids you've never seen before. And I love this because again, no granted to the kids, I don't know them, but guys, like if you don't show up in this scrimmage or look at least halfway decent to where, okay, he's gonna get better, or we know he's gotten better from where we started to where we are now, you're gonna be in the portal. And now you're back in the portal looking for somebody else to replace you. And that's just the business that we're in right now. So
that's right. That's the ecosystem. It's going to be Miss Naja going to come say, Coach Key need to see you. Bring your playbook. That's how it goes. It's just that simple.
Hard not.
It's not, you know, we live in a world now that we got your contract now is year to year as a scholarship player. So, you know, I can get this scholarship in the fall, but in the end of the spring, I may not get that scholarship again because I didn't perform to the level. I can cut him in the fall.
Yeah.
If at the fall season and I feel like he didn't do what he needed to do, you can cut him now. So now when you get on here and you say, well, why is the team so bad? Well, that means somebody got too much of a heart and they believed in a kid a little bit too long. And now you look up and you losing because we got to make good decisions and make sure the right people get on the bus in the right seat and we get the right people out there making the plays that we need to have made.
I love it. So is this going to be open to the public or is this a private scrimmage or how is everybody? How is it
going to be $10? He's got 10. He's charging $10 for it.
Hold on. To be at Morehouse?
To be at Morehouse.
Oh, that jank look like a jail cell. I would listen. That stadium. How you, man?
We're not. I'm not. I mean, you got media credentials. If you were showing up, you could come. You know. So he said $10. So that's what it is. I mean, it's not my scrimmage. My scrimmage is free. I'm having Pantherfest
I could understand.
With food trucks.
I could understand. I could understand if it was at Clark and you charging me $10. Stadium, nice view. Has anybody? Listen, I'm gonna keep it.
No, you're not finna do that. You're not gonna do him like that. Coach Mathis is doing a really good job.
I'm not
saying
not
gonna do it. Wait till I leave.
Listen to me. I'm talking to people who haven't been to Morehouse. I've been to Morehouse. I've walked in those hallways. They got jail bars on the bathroom doors and all type of stuff. I'm telling you right now, I don't feel he should be charging $10, but that's just me, right? But make sure y'all go.
The money gonna go for a good cause. I think he's gonna utilize it to do some things around his facilities, upgrade some things. It's a fundraiser for him, and I understand. Next year when it's here, I might, charge $5.
Yeah, I'll charge 10. I'm charging 10 too. If you,
I really wanted, it was easy. It made business sense for me that we don't have to buy a bus or do anything to go across the street. I was going to call Gray at Albany State, maybe take the trip down to Fort Valley. Tuskegee's not that far. There's a lot of people that we could have did this with, but because we're across the street from each other, there's a lot of interest in that game. I think it benefits both parties, and we get what we need to get out of it, and we move on.
Listen, the city is going to come out immensely. I mean, you can't buy any better coverage, and I know I know Clark Atlanta got every kind of connection to the radio station, so I know it's getting pubbed all over the radio and things like that. So it's going to be a great crowd. So let's go into this Pantherfest. Where did this come about? How did Pantherfest come around, and what made you get into that?
Pantherfest is the get the students involved. I need to get the people out of the bedrooms, the dormitories, the whole nine, but you got to create an event around it. And I think that's what a lot of HBCUs fail, that they think that I'm just coming to a game. If you ever been into Alabama Stadium when they play a game and it's an event, and I'm used to coming from arena football where everything was an event. You had things going on around it. It wasn't just a game. The music got to be loud. The DJ got to be there. Some things got to be there to keep those who are not that interested in football, but they come for the moment. They're paying for the experience. Yeah. So we want Pantherfest to start becoming an experience. We created the Spirit Booster Club last year. That became really, really good. So now the students are now involved. They know chants. They learning this when they go into their what's that college 101 course. When they come new student orientation, they learning that stuff. We're trying to create a vibe here. That's what we want. We want it to be around that. So all that stuff, and it used to be Spring Fest for them, but it was not around their spring game. It was centered around their academics. So I was able to convince a few administrators that we need to create Spring Fest and make it Pantherfest. And we put on this big show surrounded around the spring game that's going to have the band playing. And we got 2 celebrities that's going to come play with the band. And it's going to be like a little concert, a mini concert after that. And then they're going to eat the food trucks and walk around, get to take pictures and do like fan day.
That's amazing. And again, it's Atlanta. It's the Mecca. It's the hub. Like, I mean, I don't know what else. It's not hard to sell. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really not that hard to sell, especially with the Metro Atlanta area being so condensed and so dense of just people and you know, and the culture being what it is already in Atlanta. It's a perfect blend of HBCU football and the Atlanta culture. Now, Coach, you said something when we was offline, but I want to bring it up on the back end is everybody is rumoring and wanting Clark Atlanta to make the jump to D1. And you told me a stat that I thought was tremendous of just the enrollment and the applications Clark Atlanta gets. Do you think a jump to D1 could be in the future of Clark Atlanta?
I think that it's been talked about.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that need to happen around here from an institutional level. There's some things that need to happen from an athletic standpoint. But I think that all that would come, and I think there's a fear of, I don't know if you're old enough to realize that Morris Brown did this. They were in the SIAC, and then they jumped to the SWAC, and they didn't do so well, and it also led to their downfall of them now being where they at today. So I think some of that ghost still haunts the AUC Center. But I think if any school could do it, Morehouse and Clark both could do it. They both got the financial backing to do it. They got all the things you need. And and I'll say the stat, over the last year was 48,000. We're almost at the 50,000, application point. And this, you got to have a 3.0 to get in here. You got 50,000 applications for 1,100 and some spots. That's what you got. Yeah. And I'm talking about that is like elite of elite to be able to get it. All my players that play on this team, there's no 2.1s, 2.3. Every one of these kids have a 3.0 GPA or better. And they have to get in school and they go through the process just like everybody else does. So I feel that if you was looking for a school, I call it the Howard of the South. It could be just like Howard. It could be those places. And I really think that it would be it could be an easy movement for me if that was the case and we did that. It might be a little bit of a setback for us, but I think we could do it.
Let me ask you this. Moving into the SWAC, because you've been in the system where there's playoffs and then there's a system in the SWAC where there's a Celebration Bowl. Would you, this is your opinion, would you prefer the playoffs of the FCS and building towards a national championship, or would you like the inner competition between the MEAC and the SWAC and to say, you know what, I'm cool with the Celebration Bowl? What as a competitor in you? I
call it the league of my own. I think that if as HBCUs we do ourselves best serve justice is to play amongst ourselves. It's becoming a money ball game.
Okay.
And a lot of us don't have the money to invest to that level of what they invested in their programs. Those teams that get into the FCS, their programs are well funded, Yeah. And I'm not saying that our programs are not well funded, but they're not funded at the level that you can go stay at the 4-star hotel for a week. They got all these different things that goes on their campuses that we're just not. We're academic institutions, and just put it that way. Yeah, that's what at Alabama, they're academic institution, but they love football. Certain schools, they do it. I mean, you just got to understand that it's just, I think that even at the D2 level, that we need to visit a spot where the CIAA and the SIAC play against each other. If the Pioneer Bowl, I mean, not the Pioneer Bowl, but the Celebration Bowl is at 7:00 for one, the other one, it'd be a doubleheader that day. And make it a whole weekend.
That'd be dope. I would. Now, let me ask you this, because I've been a staunch advocate of a playoff HBCU bowl game, right? So top 6 teams in the top 6 teams in HBCU D1, top 6 teams HBCU D2 playing towards that, because I feel like for for the SIAC and the CIAA, it's nothing you guys haven't done before, right? You guys are used to the playoff system. You're used to traveling and going those different directions. But I think to be able to see a Tuskegee again, a Clark again, a Virginia State again, like seeing these programs again, and now you're intertwining the matchups. I think that would be interesting. What's your point? What do you think?
I agree too. Now I'm not totally. Everything comes down to fiscal responsibility, budgeting. So now you would have to say every school in HBCU is not created equally.
Okay.
Put it that way. That's the term I should use. We're not all created equally. There's things that I got here that I've never had anywhere else. There's things that I got here. I mean, the facilities are of best second to none here at Clark Atlanta University. There's things that I didn't have at maybe Allen or maybe or Stillman. Stillman had great facilities, beautiful complex. We could have did a lot of things at Stillman, but Stillman just was not created equally. So I think if you did that, you would have to make sure that we budgeted for it on the front end and all presidents, because in the D2 world, everything's ran by the President's Council. So when you talk about going to the president, NCAA, everybody think the NCAA has a lot to do with it. They do, but they're just a governing body. They make the laws, but it's really enforced by each institution, and it's also the President's Council, the D2 Council. That's where everything legislation falls down, and a lot of people don't have that in their budget to really do all that stuff.
I like it. Okay, so without the budgeting, you would do it as the Celebration Bowls on that Saturday. You know what I would do? I would have the D2 game at 1 o'clock, and then the Celebration Bowl game at like 6 or 7 o'clock. And then, like you said, have that double header and that make it a whole HBCU weekend. I think that buy one ticket, buy one ticket for one game, or double up and buy both at a discount price.
You fixing to see this here? We about to do something that's historical right here. It's going to be the Gulf South versus the SIAC Challenge. You're going to see Fort Valley take on West Alabama, which will be at the early game, and then you'll see Clark Atlanta take on Valdosta State, which is the second game.
Where's this?
The Labor Day Classic in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, snap.
You just heard it from me.
Oh, snap. Come on. So for the Labor Day Classic, you saying for the Labor Day Classic, it's a Gulf South Challenge with the SIAC Challenge where you take on Valdosta and Fort Valley takes on West Alabama.
Yes.
In the same day?
In the same day.
Oh, man. Oh, Coach, that's tough. Y'all changing the game out here. So Birmingham, Alabama, is this at Pebbles? Is this at Legion?
That has not been determined yet. I think it's going to be at Legion. I think that's where we headed.
Hey, listen, I ain't never been to a doubleheader before. They used to do that back in the day, but they don't really do it around here no more. So I might have to check that out. That's breaking news right there.
Well, I'm just letting you know that's how things are rolling, and that's how we roll.
I like that. That's
good. That shout out goes to our commissioner, Dr. Anthony Holloman, for pulling that off, and my AD, Dr. Drew. He did a good job of. At first, we were kind of weary. We don't want to step out that big. Valdosta is the runner-up national champion. But like I said, no season has no bearings on what happened last year, what happened this year. They got new coaches, do everything, and we're trying to rebuild a team. And I think it sets a standard of what we're trying to do. We're doing some crossover stuff to give us an opportunity, to have better shots at the playoffs and showing that we can compete and do things as you saw in the playoffs. Miles, almost beat West Alabama last year in their first or second game of the season. It was like 3-point loss. I think it shows the competitiveness of both conferences, and it's a super regional game.
Man, that's tough. I love it. Let me ask you this: you calling up Tremaine? Get some notes, get some tips. What are we doing?
Tremaine and I both have our own way of doing things, and Tremaine's right now working hard to get his road together. I'm not going to bother until after the season is over with. When he get finished with spring ball, me and him will holler at each other. But I know where he's at, and I know where I'm at, and he has a point to prove. I'm very proud of Tremaine and what he did for Black coaches.
Yeah.
to go into a powerhouse place like Valdosta and continue to hold the name high, the legacy that the road he built. I'm very proud of him. I think he's a tremendous man. I think he's going to do a great job at Prairie View. Hat goes off to him. So I think that, the relationship that we have, because we sat on different councils together.
Yeah.
So I got number of respect and I'm rooting for him.
Shout out to Coach Tremaine. Shout out to now, Coach, before we let you go, year 2. Expectations, that's that magical word coaches get when you start winning. You have expectations. What are Clark Atlanta expectations going into year 2? What are Coach Teddy Keaton expectations going into year 2?
We're gonna win, baby. Just win, baby. That's what it is. We're working every day. I think the kids are doing a tremendous job. I think we're in day 5 of spring ball, and everybody's working really, really hard. I think the kids had a great off season. The winter workouts went well. They got a bitter taste in their mouth. They got that number 2 trophy, which sits on the corner of my desk. It took me a minute to, put it out there. But I told the guys, I say, now, if you want what's next, you got to work for it. It ain't going to be given to you. You got a target on your back now. Everybody that comes into this house, everywhere we go, Clark Atlanta is now a fearful opponent. It's not homecoming anymore. It's time to go to work, and they did that. And we expect to win. That's what it is. Everything we do, we expect to win. I tell them if we shoot marbles, we want to win. It's nothing about losing that satisfied me, and there's nothing about average that satisfied me. So everybody's working at a high level, coaches, players, recruit team. Everybody's doing everything we can do. We're actually preparing for this 105 roster drop. That the roster's got to go down to 105 at the Division I level. So, we're kind of out there with our 2 wheelbarrows and maybe a pool trying to figure out what we may could catch on the back end of what's going on here.
Coach, how's the quarterback battle looking? What are some of the quarterbacks? What are, for Clark Atlanta fans, for Clark Atlanta alums, what is that position looking like? Who are some guys that are fighting for that position right here, right now?
Right now, we have our back redshirt freshman, Kai Brown. He's 6'5", 220. He's the only guy. He's the only guy that's really dominating at it right now. Then we signed 2 guys out of high school, which were Ali Scott and Xavier Jackson. Ali Scott is out of Houston, Texas. Really elite athlete, can throw the ball well, can run well too. Xavier Jackson is the other one. He's out of Zephyr Hills, played at Tampa Bay Tech. He was the guy that followed David. So he's another guy that already knows the system and ready to go. Xavier looks very polished and ready to play. They're off getting their perspective work. So what we're doing now is we're trying to determine how well Kai plays this spring. So whatever Kai does will determine. I save some money in case I got to go find a guy that's already ready.
Yeah.
And somebody who's already played, somebody who's there. And I got a couple names that's already in the hat. We've been communicating with those guys. I do believe in giving fair chances, but remember what I told you. I coached this game to win. So, Kai, it's your job to get your job done. If you don't get it done, then I got to find somebody to help me get it done along the way.
That's how the game goes. And last thing before I let you go, who I got to talk to get some Clark Atlanta merch, Coach? Because I talked to Willie. Willie talk about I don't control the gear. You gotta talk to the equipment guy, and now I got the equipment guy number. He ducking me. So who I gotta talk to get some Clark Atlanta merch?
The buck stops here. I got you.
Come on,
send me your size and I'll get it to you.
I love it. Thank you, Coach Teddy Keaton. Listen, that's my time with Coach Teddy Keaton. Coach, if you want to tell all your alums, your fans, your scrimmage time, the date, and Pantherfest time and date as well.
The scrimmage is at 3:00 on the 5th. On this coming up Saturday, we'll be playing at Morehouse at 3:00, and the Pantherfest will start at we'll play at 3 at that time too. But it's an all-day event, so just come out, do what you do. We'll be ready.
Because I'll be in Atlanta April.
It's on April 26th.
Oh, I was gonna be in Atlanta April 11th for a wedding.
I mean, a flight from Ohio can't be that much.
Oh, what? You know how it's expensive up here.
Well.
I ain't making coach money now. I ain't making Teddy Keaton money. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I'm making equipment manager money. Okay, like you get with 4 kids.
And don't sleep on that now. Some of them make pretty good money. I'm gonna go on that note. We'll talk offline. I'll make sure I get your address and we'll send you some stuff.
Hey, appreciate you, Coach. Hey, listen, that's Coach Teddy Keaton from the Clark Atlanta Panthers. Listen, that was dope. I can't even lie to you. That was dope. A double header? I have never been to a double header. Like, for real. Not in my life. I've never gone to a double header. Don't even know what that looks like. Now listen, you heard where you got it first. Okay, you heard where you got it first. Now you might see some publications. Scoot up to this camera. You gonna see some publications drop that information like it ain't come from here, straight out of Coach Teddy Keaton's mouth. No, did it?
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up the scope.
Listen, I know I don't go into a lot of D2 stuff, but I like Coach Teddy Keaton. I might have to slide on down to the D2 world and see what's popping, because they being innovative. The SWAC ain't being innovative. The MEAC ain't being innovative. I might have to slide on down. I'm gonna have to slide on down to D2 world, Clark Atlanta world. You know what I'm saying? Tuskegee world. You know, I ain't Miles ain't about nothing no more. But you know, I'm gonna have to slide down to Tuskegee. You know what I'm saying? Like some Fort Valley. You know what I'm saying? So I was this close to actually going to Fort Valley State. Actually, I was actually this close. Like I'm so serious. Like I was like this close to going to Fort Valley State to play football. I got offered, but you know, yeah, that's a whole nother story. All right, that's a whole nother story. Now let's get into the more show real quick, right? Because I got some other stuff I want to talk about. Wilberforce. Now I know a lot of you Bamas don't even know where Wilberforce is at. It's in Ohio. Okay, it's in Ohio. So that's number one. Right? But the Wilberforce University has a new sponsorship. And it's a fire sponsorship, by the way. Right? Shout out to my man, Mr. Gilbert, for sending me this article. Listen, this big time. This big time. Now, listen, Rachel, Miss Naughton, they need to get a better picture of you, okay? Because you need some better pictures out in the public, because this is about as good as I can get, right? But Rachel Naughton, the women's basketball coach of Wilberforce University, has a new partnership and sponsorship with And1 basketball. Now, you cannot tell me, right? You cannot tell me this isn't a huge thing. Now, granted, there's all about terms and agreements and what's in the deal and what's in the contract. I get all that. But to me, there is not a better brand. Now, I know And1 has kind of fallen off from the 07, 2008, 2009, you know, A1, Hot Sauce, AO, Cadillac, The Professor. I remember them days. I remember them days, okay? You had to be there, ball in the shirt, spin around. You know, I remember them days. That was me. That was my era, okay? All these old heads, you know, this was my era. Skip to my Lou, you know, that was my era. That's me, right? I grew up on that. Anyway, so I'm happy for them, right? I'm happy. Miss Norton, she has an article. Let me I'm gonna put the article in the description. Let me see. Shout out to get to Mr. Gilbert. The article, you can find it on, because I want to give this person credit for their work if it will come up. And now I don't want to come up. Let me see if I can find it. Boy, not a junk don't want to work. Here we go. All right. You can find it on BET. It's actually on the BET website. And you can probably just type in Coach Rachel Naughton and one sponsorship, and it'll come up. The article is written by Curtis Rouser III. Shout out to him. Right? Shout out to him. But great article, great read. It's kind of an interview style article where he puts the question up and he puts her response in the article. Is really dope. But she had a nonprofit, and you can go read the article. She had a nonprofit that was already working with And1, and then when she got the Wilberforce job, they continued communications, and then this is what the partnership led to, of them now sponsoring the Wilberforce University. Now, I think this is groundbreaking because I feel like And1 is a HBCU type of brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, we know black men and women love Nike, love Jordan, right? But And1 was always a street culture, right? Like a street culture that was really influential during that time. And I think it'll be a great way to bring the brand back through HBCUs, right? So it just is what it is, man. So I love this, man. I wanted to give love and shout out to Rachel for making this partnership happen. Shout out to Wilberforce. Shout out to And1. I'm gonna try to get somebody from And1 to come on the platform and talk about it. But I was trying to search Bama's on LinkedIn. You know what I'm saying? Trying to find somebody in the department. I might reach out to Ms. Naughton, see if she can connect me with somebody, bring them on the platform and talk about it, and see if they're opening to partnering with other HBCU. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a thing. It really could be a thing to where now you're having, you know, HBCU brands and And1 marketing and And1, you know, maybe like the chants of schools and the And1 font and stuff like that. So it was an amazing thing. It was an absolutely amazing thing. I just want to give her kudos for that. And as well, listen, now this was supposed to be Word on the Street. This was supposed to be Word on the Street. I didn't know it was going to break today. I did not know that it was going to break today. Kenwick Thompson is the official defensive coordinator and linebackers coach. Appreciate you, HBCU Pass. You got my number. Hit me up if anything comes of that. I appreciate that, right? The defensive coordinator and the linebackers coach for FAMU. Now, let me just go ahead and say I'm gonna apologize now, right? Because I had this information since March 10th. Okay, it was on me. I kept forgetting. I kept forgetting to do a show about it, and then I wait like a damn near a month later. You know what I'm saying, to be talking about this. So I want to apologize to you know, I'm usually, you know, Scotty knows and Word on the Street, and I could have gave you this information, but shout out to the person that gave it to me. That was on me. I was holding the ball too long. It dropped on me when I least suspected it. But Kenwick Thompson, defensive coordinator, linebackers coach. Listen, if we're being honest, I don't know if you could get any worse than the defensive coordinator last year. I mean, damn, you could have got my mama out there to call defensive plays, and you probably would have had the same about defense. Like it was that bad last year, right? So again, I think Cozy. Okay, how do I say this? Because I don't want the Cozy administration to get their panties in a bunch, right? They're very sensitive over there, from what I've heard, right? You know, a lot of guys over there are very sensitive. I'll just say that. What a lot of this has told me is this. Is that these are Cozy guys, right? In granted, I met the running back coach, cool dude, Kevin. I think his name is Kevin Maurice. Real cool dude. We chopped it up at the conference. Really, really nice guy. So you know what I'm saying, but the thing with these guys being Cozy guys is you don't know what Cozy's really about, if that makes sense, right? Like let me break this down to FAMU people, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it a whole buck. I love FAMU. I do not like this Cozy hire at all. So please, when I tell you, and I'm gonna say this again, I love FAMU with everything in me. I love it. I really do. Right? I do not like this Cozy hire. And please do not be surprised if you see me wanting Cozy to lose just to get him out the building. Don't be surprised if you see that. Now, I'm not saying, listen, do I want FAMU to celebrate? Absolutely. Do I want FAMU to win? All the time. But there's just something about Cozy that I just cannot put my finger on it, that I just don't like. Like I really like. It just something about it just don't rub me the right way, right? Like how he moves and how he does stuff. It's like real Randall from Recess-ish. If anybody, let me. I know some of y'all know, but some of y'all might not know. So let me bring this picture up so you kind of understand what I'm saying, right? He gives me like when I think of Cozy, this is the picture that just literally jumps out in my brain, right? Like this is how I see him, right? This is what I see. Like no, hey, no Diddy. Like when somebody says Cozy did anything, this is what I see in my head. He gives me hall monitor vibes, right? Like that's what he gives me. He gives me hall monitor vibes. He gives me like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Bama that's always snitching. You know what I'm saying? Like the one that he bringing over the potato salad with the raisins in it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the vibe he give me, just real weaselish. And I hate to say that, but that's just the vibe I get. And some of the feedback I've gotten about Cozy is he is weaselish. And it's not, and no, I disagree. It's not that, listen, nobody's Willie, right? But the one thing that, see, this is the thing, man. Sometimes you really gotta see people through other people's eyes, and then you gotta see people through how your spirit takes them, right? It's called discernment. A lot of you Bamas don't have it, right? But when it comes to Cozy, I've heard about how weasel-esque he can be, right? Like, I've heard that of how he slides out of this and he want people. He's very political. Let me say that. He's a politician-ish kind of person, right? Where people say he'll tell you one thing and he'll tell somebody else something else. And a lot of people don't like him because of that. Now, what I've always heard about Willie is he's going to keep it straight with you. If you're not good, you're not good. He's going to tell you why you're not on the field. He's going to tell you why this person is in front of you. He's going to tell you that, hey, he's just better than you. You need to be better. And this is what you need to get better at, right? So it's a lot of those things that, that just get mixed up in it, right? So that just is what it is. Again, I would say this, right? Because everybody has an impression of somebody that they've never met, right? Everybody has an impression of somebody they've never met. People have impressions of me that have never met me, and that's okay, right? Because again, just because I feel or I discern that Cozy has a Randall-esque spirit about him doesn't mean he's a Randall, right? Doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't mean that at all, right? Is there some things that have happened behind the scenes that I know of personally that he's done that I'm like, that's some female type stuff? Yes. And I can base my opinion off of situations that I know firsthand. Still not knowing him, right? But it's just like, that's not cool. Again, I want to be very clear. People can do that to me as well. People can have seen my platform. People can watch me. People can have seen me on this platform. People can have seen me talk about people on this platform and say, Scotty is like this. And I don't like guys who are like this. Or I don't like brothers who do this, which is fair because everybody is entitled to their opinion. I will never say you're not entitled to your opinion. That just is what it is, right? But when you do get to know somebody, and then you start judging them off of how your interaction is with them, right? Like, hey, you know what? I thought you were like this, but when I got to know you, you really weren't like that. And can you be man enough to then receive how you've met that person and say, you know what? Yeah, you're not that guy I thought you would be. Or you're not the person that I thought you would, right? So again, A is understanding everybody has their opinion. And the fact of my opinion is I feel as though he's a Randall does not mean that Cozy is a Randall. You get what I'm saying? I want to be very clear. This is my opinion based off of things that I know firsthand, my spirit, and when I hear him talk and when I see him, right? Because let's be real. Let's not act like, because I know what y'all not about to do. You're not about to get on here and say Scotty is a hater. Because there's times, and let's keep it a buck. There's times you can hear somebody talk. You're not even talking to that person. You can be in the room. You can be in the room and hear somebody talking like, oh, that nigga's a lame. He's a lame. You just know. Let's not play this game like you just don't know. You be like, man, he a lame. I ain't that's lame, right? Again, based off of just your dealings in here, like we've all been there. So don't be trying to hit me up with something like y'all, because y'all Bama's love to be, yeah, I've never. You're like, no, stop. Yes, you have. We've all been there, right? We've all been there. Or let's keep it a buck. You're talking to a girl and a girl hits you with a, oh, I'm celibate. I've converted to Christ and he's my Lord and Savior. You was a hoe. You don't want to be a hoe no more. Like that's what that is. You was a hoe. Now you trying to get me to take you to dinner instead of letting me smash. That's what that is. Like don't bring Christ in this. You was a hoe. And now you're not trying to get that reputation no more. Now you're trying to be redeemed. You feel me? So again, I don't want to just limit this to Cozy. It's just dealing with people. Sometimes you can pick up the perception on somebody of just how they move, how they say stuff, how they do things, right? So don't get on here. Don't y'all members get in my chat talk about some, oh, Scotty said, what I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Wayne. Hey, if this ain't the realest thing you've ever put in the chat, this is so real, right? Because we were just texting 20 minutes ago. You was talking about what you was going to do to me. I'm telling you what I was about to do to you. And now all of a sudden, you're redeemed? You're redeemed? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Okay? No, ma'am. No. All right, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Right now you wait. No, we're not doing that. You feel me? We're not doing that. Oh, anyway. So yes, back to your thank you, March and Paparazzi, for keeping me back on track. I haven't looked at the film. Okay, I gotta go look at the film. I gotta go check some things out. From what I scoped, I haven't dug deep into it. So please, if I miss it, please just give me some grace. All right, give me some grace. I haven't seen him call defense. I don't think he's been a defensive coordinator before. Let me see. They dropped the thing on. Okay. Yeah, he was a defensive coordinator at Vanderbilt. That don't mean much. Assistant coach at Fresno, assistant head coach at Las Vegas. He was at Texas Southern for a little bit. But I think this is before Coach Cole got there. University of California, he was there. He was a defensive coordinator, I think, on his couple last year. So he has been a defensive coordinator before. So yeah. We'll see how that goes though. But I gotta go look at some film. So I got to go check and see what his scheme looked like at his Vanderbilt years. That will probably be my best goal. is to kind of check out what he did at Vanderbilt, see what kind of scheme he ran at Vanderbilt, and go from there. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. No. He was a defensive coordinator at East Carolina University. Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. He was a defensive coordinator at East Carolina University for 1 year. So that's probably going to be my best bet to get the information that I'm looking for. Yeah, East Carolina. So they didn't have no stats in his when I put him up at UAB when he spent his time at UAB, they didn't really have any stats for him. I think they say his linebackers led in like forced fumbles or fumble recoveries or something like that. It wasn't too many stats out about him. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But yeah. So, but that's it, man. Listen, y'all, y'all got y'all 2 cents out of me, and y'all got my little rant for the day and everything like that. But I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Hopefully, I can get back on here sometime this week with some news starts coming down and breaking with spring ball and spring games and things like that. And also, listen, if you ever want to get in contact with me, you can text me. Let me put my text number. I usually have the banner, but I haven't done it in a while, so I gotta. You can text me. This is my text number. All right. If you got any information you want to reach out, it is only for text. Okay. And anybody knows who's texting me on this number knows I respond. It ain't no AI chat. It ain't none of that. It is actually me. Right. So if you want to text me, you can text me at this number right here, 214-396-0268. All right. Again, 214-396-0268. It is a system. It's a text messaging system that I can get everybody in. You know what I'm saying? So if you ever want to reach out to me real quick and say, hey, Scotty, I got this information, or have you heard anything about this? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people hit me up on multiple things and Messenger and Twitter, and things slip through the crack, right? But I always got my phone on me to answer text messages. So if you want to text me, hit me on that number, 219-396-0268. All right, listen. Until next time, I want to thank my special guest today, Coach Teddy Keaton. I'm gonna hit you up later, Coach, and I'm gonna get some merch, as well as we're gonna get you a ring light. All right, listen, big show tonight with Coach's Corner, right? You got FAMU NAA President Curtis Johnson, and the PVAD is coming on tonight. Anton Golf, all right, talking about his time at Prairie View and how he's building that program. So make sure you guys tune in tonight at 9 o'clock with Coach's Corner, all right? Listen, until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless.